Good morning. It's a beautiful morning here up on my hillside. I'm up in my cabin because everyone's still asleep in the house. I thought you might like to hear some of this morning bird song here. See the dawn here. There we are, wherever you are in the world this morning. There's some bird song from Cornwall. Today we're going to talk about patience. I want to talk to you about patience because this is what's on my mind in my journey at the moment with food. And one thing about me as a coach, I get a little bit bundled up here, is I always share my journey. I work on my own relationship with food and I feed it back down to you. I'm getting the best help, the best coaching on the market. And I get to pass all of my learning down to you. And it's such a privilege to do so. I was thinking this morning about patience and my own impatience with my own food psychology journey. Like, you ever get this point where you're like, I've been working on this for years and it's not solved. It's not 100% magic wanded gone. And then I think to myself, you know what, Laura, maybe this is it. This is a journey of consciousness. And maybe my journey will always be with food, trying to stay conscious, that I don't get to go unconscious because that doesn't work for me. And I can drive unconsciously and I can cook a meal without thinking about it whilst chatting to someone else on my Bluetooth headphones, right? I can talk to my mum whilst I'm cooking a meal and I'm not really having to concentrate on it. I'm not having to read recipes and bloody blah. I just put vegetables together, put things in pans in a way that's pretty much second nature to me because I've been doing it since I was 12 or whatever. Okay. But what about with food? Food seems to be my calling to consciousness, my like the the thing that pokes me and says, hey, you don't go to sleep, don't switch off from your emotions, don't disengage from your journey. You don't get to be a zombie, you don't get to zonk out, zone out, check out of life into this kind of thick fog of minute to minute grazing and pleasure. It doesn't work. My relationship with food has come, excuse me, morning folk, has come so far over the years. I've discovered and learned so much about binge eating. My binges are pretty much non-existent these days. If they do come up, it's a matter of curiosity and not a matter of shame and drama. My relationship with weight, although it does go up and down a little, is always less drama, less emergency, and more my little signal to pay attention or to learn the next part. I would love to get to the point where my weight stays a little bit more stable than it does, but I have learned to course correct so much more over the years. And, you know, I just feel like this quality of patience is still lacking in me and in my life. And when I get impatient, it's because I'm ambitious, because I'm thinking about success and I want the results now. And I feel, and my feeling is urgency, emergency. And Impatience drives me to try harder, do more drastic things. So when I'm feeling impatient with myself in my relationship with food, I tend to want to do things like go on a fast or um, I overconsume information because I feel like if I work harder, if I do more homework, I'm going to get to the point where I know it. I know it. And I try and skip the part where I apply it. So I sit in a kind of superior place where I'm trying to intellectually grasp it instead of just getting my feet into the water and really experiencing how would it be if I stop at satisfied after eating my lunch. And at that moment, what feelings come up for me when I don't want to stop at satisfied? And I know that a lot will come up at that moment, right? A lot will come up about not wasting what's on my plate if it's been very lovingly prepared, or if it's a food that I think of as being a premium food like avocado or venison or something. It's harder for me to allow it to pass on to the leftovers, recycle, to go into the compost, or to just wait, to just wait in a jar in the fridge for the next round. That might come up, this idea of waste. Or there might be an idea like I might have emotions. I might just feel tired and be like, I just need I just need a pick me up. I don't want to go on to the next thing that I've got. And many of you and many of the clients that I work with are ambitious people, and we want to go quick. We want to jump from here up the ladder. And I want to offer you that sense, if you have a sense of urgency about your weight loss, that there's usually fear behind it. There's usually trying to get away. You're usually judging the present quite harshly. You're usually telling yourself, where I am right now is not okay. And trying to get away from this moment as fast as possible. And that urgency, that impatience is actually created by your thoughts, your judgments about where you're at. Sometimes my impatience comes from frustration with myself. I can feel myself, I can see what I need to do to change, and I can see myself not taking the leap. And I'm shaking myself. Get on with it. And actually, that impatience is coming from not believing in myself to take the leap, not encouraging myself to take the leap, not and and not realizing, not acknowledging a lack of confidence in myself, a lack of belief in my future. And it's like I've got to create results quickly, otherwise, so that my results give me evidence so that I can believe in the future. I'm trying to change my situation in order to change my thoughts instead of and we all know this, right? Situations don't create thoughts, situations are facts, and thoughts are what create emotions, and emotions motivate actions. So if I want to create a weight loss for myself, okay, and this is for all of you, if I want to create a weight loss and maintain it, it's not going to happen by creating the results first and then believing in myself to create them. And that's how diets work. They'll they get you to take drastic action because they think that once you see the scale move, then you'll start believing that it's possible, and that motivation will carry you. So they try and change the situation in order to change your thoughts about yourself. Okay. And we all know where that leads us, because it leads us to be very, very vulnerable to what the scale tells us in order to create motivation. So then if we reach a plateau, or it takes time to learn another skill in our weight loss, we get demotivated because we're waiting for the numbers and for the results to give us the motivation. When I work with hypnosis, when I work with your thoughts and emotions, we create that self-belief, that self-confidence first. I work with weight loss in a maintenance first approach. I've never heard of this. I've just invented this approach, maintenance first. In the first 3 months of working together, we just do groundwork. Okay, I take the time to put the fundamentals in place so that you meet yourself where you're at with acceptance. And then from there, you can build a weight loss, but you've built your maintenance first. So you know that whatever weight loss that you create for yourself, you are going to take forward for life. Now, if I was really honest about how long I think this might take, I would say give yourself the luxury of a year. Does that freak you out? A year? You're like, a year? I could do a whole 30. It would take me 30 days. Okay. What if, like, how much time have you invested? How patient have you been with the process of dieting and re-dieting and re-educating yourself and trying again? How patient have you been with that? Very patient. Yeah, very patient, very dogged, very tenacious, very consistently restarting over. Actually, to just give yourself the luxury of doing one thing for a year, how could that be? Deep, meeting yourself, unfolding one overeating habit after another. In that first 3 months, like, it's not like you have to wait for weight loss, right? When we work together, because in reality, we work on the weight loss skills last, but most people see movement way before that. But the movement is a byproduct. Yeah, the movement is a byproduct of the work we're doing, because the first thing that we do together is really get into your after work overeating and dismantle that one big habit that's really adding on a lot of extra fuel into your day, that is emotional and not that, and that your body is not using to run your life, right? And so once we've tackled one habit, we can start to pick all of the other low hanging fruits of the other habits. But habit change, as you probably know, is not an overnight process. Habits that you create very quickly and that require a lot of concentration don't usually stick with you. You didn't learn to drive in a 1 week intensive. Probably I did a 1 week intensive, and you know what, I was completely unprepared at the end of it to take a test, because actually it's repetition, actually it's consciousness, actually it's self-acceptance, it's changing your mentality from being a try, go all out, fail, to being a learning growth mindset where you get to look at the data, evaluate how you're going, think about the thoughts that are holding you up, and gradually weed them out so that your mind is gradually a little bit more angled towards the success that you're creating, bit by bit by bit by bit by bit. But You might feel like, oh my God, I've got so many negative thoughts about myself. That's going to take forever. But it's not like that. You there's a ripple effect to starting to think positively about yourself. Patience is in us already. Think about a situation where you've been patient. Maybe you've been pregnant and waited for a baby to grow. Maybe you've grown a garden, or you like fishing, or you've knitted, or you like to do a puzzle. Yeah. Every piece of a puzzle is a dopamine hit along the way. It keeps you going. And every piece that we do is an illumination. I wish me patience. I wish you patience. And if you've got it in you already to be patient about something else, I want to suggest that you can be patient with your food and body journey to the point where you create something strong and beautiful, as well put together as a spider's web. Something that's a whole framework for your life, and not just a quick blitz over here trying to catch one fly and then finding yourself having to start from scratch all over again.